Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today we're talking about a shocking and intense development from the battlefield. Russian soldiers have reportedly walked into a deadly Ukrainian minefield, and the results were devastating. This incident highlights the brutal and unforgiving nature of this war, and the strategic moves that continue to shape the conflict on both sides. It's a grim reminder of how dangerous this war has become and how quickly situations can turn catastrophic for troops on the ground. Reports suggest that Ukrainian forces deliberately set up a minefield along a known route used by Russian infantry and armored vehicles. These traps are meant to slow down enemy advances, break their momentum, and cause confusion. When the Russian soldiers entered this zone, explosions quickly followed, triggering chaos and heavy casualties. This isn't just a military tactic, it's psychological warfare too. When troops see their comrades taken out instantly by hidden explosives, it creates fear and hesitation, which can delay future offensives. Ukraine has relied heavily on defensive fortifications and minefields to compensate for being outnumbered in some areas. Mines are an effective equalizer, allowing smaller units to hold off larger forces. They are buried under the ground, nearly invisible, and designed to detonate when stepped on or when vehicles pass over them. The Ukrainian military has reportedly planted thousands of anti-tank and anti-personnel mines along potential Russian routes. This has forced Russian forces to be more cautious, slowing their advance significantly. The Russian soldiers involved in this latest incident were reportedly moving toward a Ukrainian position, perhaps as part of a larger offensive or reconnaissance mission. What they didn't know was that the ground had been carefully prepared by Ukrainian engineers. The moment the first explosion went off, panic spread quickly. Survivors had to decide whether to retreat or push forward, but with explosions happening around them, escape was difficult. Some were likely injured and trapped in the blast area, unable to move for fear of triggering more mines. This kind of incident is tragic, but also strategic from a military perspective. Ukraine is using every tool available to inflict maximum damage on Russian forces while minimizing its own losses. By planting mines, they force Russia to use valuable time and resources on demining operations. It also forces them to change their tactics, making their movements more predictable and giving Ukraine better opportunities to strike. Minefields are not new to warfare, but they have taken on a major role in this conflict. Modern mines are more powerful and sometimes even remotely controlled, allowing defenders to choose the exact moment of detonation. This level of control makes minefields not just a passive defense, but an active weapon. In this case, it's very possible Ukrainian forces were monitoring the area and waited until the largest group of Russian soldiers entered before triggering multiple blasts, maximizing the impact. The psychological effect on Russian troops cannot be underestimated. Every step they take in contested territory now carries the risk of death or injury. This constant fear wears soldiers down over time and reduces their effectiveness in combat. Some analysts believe this is part of Ukraine's larger strategy, not just to win battles, but to break the will of Russian troops and make it harder for Moscow to sustain its war effort. International observers have noted that incidents like this will continue as long as the front lines remain static. Mines will remain hidden long after the fighting stops, posing a danger to civilians as well. But in the short term, Ukraine sees them as necessary to protect its territory. The minefields slow Russian advances, create choke points, and give Ukrainian artillery time to strike retreating or stalled forces. This deadly combination can wipe out entire units before they even reach their objectives. The Russian military has specialized demining units, but they can't always deploy quickly enough to prevent casualties. Clearing a minefield is slow, dangerous work, often done under fire. This means Russian forces either have to risk taking casualties or delay their offensives entirely. Both outcomes are a win for Ukraine strategically. In a war where time, morale, and logistics are critical, forcing your opponent to hesitate can make a huge difference. This incident also shows how dangerous the battlefield has become for ordinary soldiers. Unlike airstrikes or artillery fire, mines don't distinguish between experienced fighters and new recruits. Anyone who enters the wrong area is at risk. For Russian commanders, this means they must be even more careful in planning troop movements. A single mistake can lead to disaster, as we've seen in this case. The Ukrainian government and military officials have praised their engineering units for their precision and success in defending the front lines. For them, this is proof that their defensive strategy is working. On the other hand, Russian state media has downplayed the incident, focusing instead on continued offensives in other areas. But independent footage and reports from the ground suggest that this was a major setback, and one that will have ripple effects on Russian planning. We should also remember that incidents like this are part of a much larger and ongoing war. The human cost is high on both sides, and every explosion means lives lost or permanently changed. Civilians in nearby areas often live in fear of stray mines or unexploded devices. Even after the fighting ends, it will take years to clear these areas and make them safe again. In conclusion, the incident of Russian soldiers walking into a Ukrainian minefield is another dramatic reminder of how brutal and dangerous this war has become. It shows Ukraine's determination to defend its territory by any means necessary, and Russia's challenge in pushing forward without suffering massive losses. As this conflict continues, we can expect more reports like this of ambushes, traps, and sudden strikes that change the course of battles in moments. This war is not slowing down, and each side is adapting rapidly to outsmart the other. What do you think about Ukraine's use of minefields? Are they an effective way to hold back Russian advances, or do they create too much long-term danger for civilians? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below, and don't forget to like and subscribe if you want more updates like this. This conflict continues to evolve every day, and we'll be here to break it down for you.